in the United States right now, it's almost a battle of greed when you really look at the way the country is. And it's very sad to say, but in other countries, they have to put exactly what's in their food on their labels. An example would be genetically modified organisms. You got to put what percentage GMOs in Europe that are in your products. You can't use certain preservatives or additives or chemicals or toxins or all these. And out there right now, there's so many, not only foods and beverages that have these ingredients, but it's also in our cleaning materials, anything for household use or business use. There's all these different neurotoxins that are around us, whether it's in food, in drinks, in daily uses of cleaning things, even in just the air you're breathing. They're not monitoring this stuff very much in the United States as they are in other countries. They're getting away with more in terms of the food and the food companies, as well as the chemical companies, as well as the drug companies. They kind of have so much money that they can do what they want, and they just want to make more money. So the sicker they make you with the food and the chemicals, the more drugs you take. And the United States right now is consuming by far more than half of the actual prescription drugs administered in the entire world every year. And essentially, if the age limit was 150 in our country, and we had no diabetes and no heart disease and all these different things, it'd be like, oh my goodness, it's working. But it's not working. And the unfortunate side effect with all these different things is a sick nervous system. And keep in mind, your nervous system, your brain and your spinal cord, and just like your heart does all your blood flow in your body, well, your brain and your spinal cord do all your energy flow to all your parts, to and from. And this big wiring network is getting more and more damaged due to the toxicities that are around us, especially in our country. There's no doubt about it. Everybody is at risk. And as each minute of each day that goes by, increasingly becomes harder. You got chemicals, pollutants, you got toxins, you got super viruses, you got super bacteria, you got fungi that's out there that they're all mutating parasites. And then in addition to that, you got 5G Wi-Fi. You got all these different blue lights that are out there that we're exposed to. So if you just think about, an infant, I'm 51 right now. 51 years ago, there was a quarter, probably not even 10% of any of that. And, my wife and I met 30 plus years ago at LSU, and we didn't even have cell phones back then. So there was a big kind that you had in the car, that kind of deal. And nowadays there's just so much. Technology is great, can be great, but it also has side effects. And we've come so far in so many different areas, just the crops. I grew up on a farm and we had rice and soybeans. And so I always tell the story that when we had soybeans, when our soybeans were growing, we had these weeds that would grow up in them called indigos. And the way we get rid of them, I remember being 10 years old in the middle of 200-acre field, sweating my butt off, pulling indigos, because that's how we get rid of them. If we didn't get rid of them, then we'd harvest them, and they'd see the indigo chunks in the soybeans, and the mill would lessen the value they gives to the farmer. So we go pull them. Well, then progressively we started using herbicides, and then herbicides basically got to where Roundup came, to be. And then Roundup said, hey, I want to get involved in the process with the herbicides. But they realized, obviously, if they sprayed Roundup on a soybean crop, it would kill not only the weeds in the field, but it killed the soybean. So their scientists went into laboratories, and they started out with a corn seed, and they genetically modified a God-made corn seed into a man-made corn seed that was resistant to Roundup. And so that was in the 80s, 90s time frame. So basically, after they did that, you could plant a 200-acre field of soybeans or corn, and it had a bunch of weeds in it. You spray the whole thing with this. If you planted it with the Roundup Ready seed, you spray the whole crop, and it would kill everything in the field except for the actual soybeans or corn or crop that you were planting. So it turned into, people would argue that we needed it for more demand, but there was a price for it. We used to, in our country, in the United States in particular, and this is a great example, we used to have when I was a kid, our stockpile in the United States was not Roundup Ready seed that we had in the country. It was actually God-made corn, wheat, soybeans, all this stuff. It was all God-made seed. That was our stockpile. And then over time, with all the government incentives and all the stuff they've done this. So now the actual stockpile in our country is all Roundup Ready seeds and not the God-made seeds. In other countries, it's actually the reverse. In Europe, they actually have a higher God-made seed reserve than we do. So, and then in the United States, we don't even have to put that on a label. We don't even have to label it. So you literally don't know. You can choose organic, and which we do, and you still can't even trust that organic is good. There's actually a story behind that too. Organic farmers years ago, when this whole process was happening, organic farmers said, no, we're going to plant our God-made seed in this crop over here, and then you're going to plant your Roundup Ready seed over here. Well, naturally, the way things work, there was cross-pollination happening, and the Roundup Ready seed crops would cross-pollinate, and it would actually contaminate the organic farm. So the organic farmers got upset, and they started suing Roundup. Monsanto was a company, and they started winning. And then Monsanto went and passed a bill in legislature that actually says they can't sue them anymore. And that was years ago. And it's just been such if you think about all the twisted web of manipulation in terms of not really caring about our American people and just caring about making money and profiting. And then who cares who's sick? Who cares, if our country's dying? We really don't care about the people so much. We want to make some money. That's been almost the agenda of the country now for many, many years.